everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Sam and we are still going on our little quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank them best to worst of all time. I'm joined as always by my amazing team. Amelia, how's things?
Hello. Haven't seen you guys in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Long time coming. Joe, wagwan.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Chilling.
Nice.
Wagwan. Yeah, boy.
And Jacob, how's things?
Oh, things are alright. Things are good.
Excellent news. So this week we are covering Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Cannot wait. What is that? This week, we are definitely going to get through this movie, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which came out in 2005 on the 28th of April. So before handing off, I'm going to go through a little pop culture rundown and see where we were in the worlds of music, video games, and the cinema. So in music, it's certainly a mixed bag. So number 21, we have Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. So that's excellent.
That's
right?
good. That's a good song.
Very good start. Number 17, All About You by McFly.
Okay.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
But...
from our childhoods, good stuff. Number 10, Candy Shop by 50 Cent.
That's a year 8 math song right there, you know. That's for me.
What?
They let you get away with a lot in year 8. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
In maths
Everyone
as
loves
well.
maths in year 8. Yeah.
You're going to have to tell us about that sometime. Gee, that's weird.
Yeah.
Over on the other side of hip-hop, at number 4, Switch, Will Smith.
I can't even place that one.
Really?
I don't even know
Oh,
what
it's
it is
good.
now.
It's good. Next time we do one of those group Spotify things, I'll play it for you. It's good. Number 3, I Like the Way You Move, Body Rockers.
Okay.
Okay, right?
Oh my
now,
God.
just to tip off this little mixed bag sandwich, I don't know. Number 1, top of the charts was fucking Is This the Way to Amarillo, Peter Kay and Tony Christie.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, good
That's what we
God.
like. That's a classic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably the most 2005 song you could have picked out of all of them.
That music video has aged incredibly poorly. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
Well, Jimmy Savile's in that music video.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not good.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
It's not good.
Oh.
Oof.
So, in the world of video games, the day before Hitchhiker's Guide, we got 2 releases. One of them was NBA Street Showdown, from when all the sports games were doing like street versions, basically, and a Predator Concrete Jungle, which received generally unfavorable reviews. IGN called it a good idea gone bad.
Oh,
That's
man.
a shame.
Imagine IGN not liking your game. That you know you've made a mistake.
Is this before companies were paying them to give them good reviews? Because I remember them giving them like a really good review for something that was clearly trash, but I don't know what it was. Was it No Man's Sky? I don't know.
It's definitely
whatever
happened.
it was. Well, yeah, like I remember it being like like everyone knew the game was bad, but IGN were like, pretty good, you know, pretty good. So
I
it's
feel like
very
that
obvious
happened
they've
with
been
one of
paid
the
off.
Kane and Lynch games. I'm not sure. Anyway,
God knows, I don't
in the
know.
world of cinema, it was not a good month, honestly. It was not a good month. So at the start of April 1st, the Sin City movie came out.
That's an alright film.
I assume it's
I don't
just
mind
part of
that
some
film.
sort of April Fool's joke. Let's adapt one of Frank Miller's comic books. What a laugh. And on April 27th, right, I've not seen it. Has anyone seen any of the Triple X movies?
No.
No. Cool. We don't have to talk about it. One of the Triple X movies came out. Sweet. The very next day, however, it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, made our way to theatre screens. Jacob, tell us all about the movie.
Yeah, so Hitchhiker's Guide, as Sam said, April 28th over here, very next day in the US. That's not super important, but there you go, it's true. Had anyone watched this before having to watch it for a podcast?
Me.
Like second hand, it's been on while I've been in the room.
Okay.
Like while my dad's been watching it or something, I think.
Yeah. Amelia?
But
No, never.
Oh man, for me, this movie was one of those. This is one of my answers to the. Have you ever watched a movie on repeat? Like this is
Really?
This is one of the movies that I would maybe for a week or two. It went on every day, honestly.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I think that this was one of the movies that I put it on because I'd heard of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then kind of went, "This is this isn't Star Wars." And sort of turned it off, and coming back to it, my reaction is a bit different.
This
Anyway,
isn't Star Trek. Was
It's
that your
not.
reaction to it?
not at all. So yeah, the budget for this film was 45 to 50 million. I can't
Okay.
give an exact number. Anyone want to take a stab at the box office?
I don't imagine it did that well, you know.
Okay, I can see why you think
It's got a really good cast, but I feel like
yeah.
Douglas Adams is still as beloved as he is to the people who love him. It's really niche. It's very British punny humor, and it doesn't gel with everyone. I'm gonna say if it made any money, it barely made money. I'm gonna give a stab at 55. Did you say it was 40 to 50?
Yes.
I'm gonna say 55 million.
Okay.
You seemed kind of shocked when Sam said that he didn't think it did that well.
That's
So
true. I should have paid attention to
I'm
that.
gonna
Trying to stay neutral, I'll be honest.
say maybe what was the budget again?
45 to 50 million.
I'm gonna be generous, say like 70 million.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to go 60 worldwide.
Okay. You're all wrong. 104.5 million.
Good.
Oh,
Nice.
Really good.
I was on the right track, so I just didn't go high enough.
Yeah, I've got a terrible poker face. Anyone watching the video, you will see that. Opening weekend in the UK, it made 4.2 million. And opening weekend in the US,
Wait, 4 million? That's not a lot.
that's pretty good, I go in, I think. Opening weekend in the US, over $21 million.
I don't think that's bad at all.
So that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Right. So this was directed by a guy called Garth Jennings. I thought his name was Gareth.
What
It's not,
else
it's
has he done? I've
Garth.
never bothered to check.
I am glad you asked.
Hey.
So he's done Sing, that movie where Taron Egerton's a
no.
gorilla.
Really? Oh my god.
no.
That's quite recent.
Yes, he did that. But mainly he's done lots of music video stuff. The only other real movie I could find was one called Son of Rambo, but it's Rambo.
I remember this
R-A-M-B-O-W.
movie. Yeah.
It looks maybe kind of charming. I don't know. It's got kind of like a Jojo Rabbit vibe to it.
Yeah, it was about
just from watching the trailer.
it was about a bunch of kids trying to make a Rambo movie.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It was interesting. Screenplay and author of the original book is of course Douglas Adams, who is no longer with us. He died back in 2001. But he has done lots of bits and bobs. He's obviously written the original book. Dirk Gently
Yeah.
he did that. He did some Doctor Who. It was unfinished due to the writer's strike, so it never actually came out. But he's written it.
I was going to say
And
it's
he's done-
worth mentioning that episode of Doctor Who is one of the most like infamous episodes ever because it was partly shot. This is a little bit of Doctor Who trivia. So it was partly shot, and the footage of it ended up in. They did a anniversary episode where the first 5 Doctors were all in the same episode. It's a good episode.
Oh god, I've seen that actually.
But Tom Baker couldn't make it for the shoots, so they used the episode's called Sharda that Douglas Adams wrote.
It is.
They used some footage from Sharda, and suddenly the entire Doctor Who community was alive. Like, oh my god, they shot some of this episode. Can we see it, please? And I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they got some of the cast back and they did a full animated feature, so we can finally see the full thing.
I did
I'm
not know about that.
pretty certain they put together an animated version of it.
I didn't do too much research into it, but that would be really interesting to check out. I think I like Tom Baker.
Yeah, I love Tom Baker.
Good Doctor. He's also done some Monty Python Flying Circus, which I think is you could have guessed that. The sense of humor is very similar. The writer, a person called Carrie Kirkpatrick, who this was the person who finished off the rest of the script, because as you may have noticed, this movie came out in 2005. Douglas Adams died in 2001.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite finished. They've done Smallfoot, which is one of those abominable snowman Bigfoot movies that came out.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The Smurfs, Spiderwick Chronicles, Charlotte's Web, Over the Hedge. I think they're supposed to say Chicken Run, but it just says chicken. So
Nice.
whoops. The Road to El Dorado and James and the Giant Peach.
But I've done loads.
Pretty good going.
Yeah.
Onto the cast themselves. Arthur Dent, who, according to Douglas Adams' notes, was the only character who had to be English. He wasn't too fussed about the others. But Arthur
It
Dent
makes
had to be
sense. It makes
He
sense.
does. He spends the whole movie in his dressing gown and complains. Right, he has to be. He's of course played by Martin Freeman, who's been in everything, just lots of things.
Was he famous by this point? Like, was it?
He'd
it
been
like,
in The Office. He'd done The Office by then.
Oh, that was like
When was The
2003,
Office?
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
2002, 2003, I think, was The Office.
Cool. Trisha, or Trillian, is Zoe Deschanel, who is in Elf and New Girl. Probably some other things, but they were
She's
the ones I had
barely
off
in
my head.
this movie. Like, she was on set, but she wasn't fucking present for this film. Like,
Fair enough. Zaphod Beeblebrox, the two-headed, three-armed guy, is Sam Rockwell.
yeah.
He's been in Iron Man 2, Jojo Rabbit, Moon, Vice, 3 Billboards, and Galaxy Quest, which is another film that
Galaxy
this one
Quest.
gets
What a
compared
film.
to quite a lot.
I love that film.
He's good in everything he's in, Sam Rockwell. He's
Yeah.
pretty underrated, I think.
I love his dumb little dance he does in Iron Man 2. When he comes on stage.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Ford Prefect, I didn't recognise who this was. It was one of the few actors I didn't know who they were. Is a hip-hop artist called Mos Def.
Mos Def, yeah.
I
I don't have much of a connection with him, to be honest with you, but...
No. He's been in some Dexter. Then we have Marvin, the paranoid android. The actual body of Marvin was played by... Anyone want to guess who
Warwick
it could have been?
Davis.
Yes.
Of course it was. Who's been in so many things, such as Tenable, that quiz show on daytime TV,
Oh yeah, I know which one you mean.
and other
not
famous
watched it.
properties such
No, I have
as...
watched
Is that
it.
new? I feel like I've
Yeah,
seen a
it's
trailer
definitely,
for
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I've seen it. It's fine. It's fine.
He's also done famous things like Am I High? If anyone remembers
Yeah,
Am
boy.
I High? He was in that.
Oh man, do you remember that? Oh, what was
And
that?
a
I used to
couple
know
of,
the theme.
I'm not going to try and recreate it. I watched this episode to try and see where he was, and he's just a small little Russian man.
Oh,
Okay.
Why not?
Fair enough.
He's also in a couple of indie properties like something called Harry Potter and Star Wars, but
No one's ever
you might have
heard
heard
of
of
them.
those. I
Who
haven't.
cares?
I don't know what they
Nah.
are.
Yeah.
no.
The voice of Marvin is Alan Rickman himself, who again
Mad.
has been in that Harry Potter thing, Galaxy Quest, Love Actually, and Die Hard, the best Christmas movie of all time. Stephen Fry is of course also in this. He's like the narrator as well as the guide, so he's the one who talks out of the book. He's done. It's Stephen Fry.
He's the perfect voice for the
Everyone-
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Absolutely.
100%. When I was a kid, right, I really thought... It'll never happen because it's too niche a property, but I really thought one day we'll get a physical Hitchhiker's Guide. Like an actual... Like the prop. And you open it up and you'll be able to ask it questions and stuff. And I thought that the only way you could ever do it is to get Stephen Fry back and have him record a whole bunch of lines. Or even just...
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Even just as an app. We're getting those foldable phones now.
Yeah.
Give me
be
a
perfect.
Hitchhiker's app, you know?
Yeah. There are a couple more famous British actors. There's a couple I'm going to deliberately leave out because I was very surprised to learn that they were in this. But yeah, it's a couple of the weird Vogon people. Richard Griffiths, who is... Oh, he's in lots of things. I'm pretty sure he's also in Harry Potter. I've got them the right way around.
I mean, anyone who's British really has been in Harry Potter. Let's be honest.
It's like a rite of
You make
passage.
a very good point.
Like,
Bill Nighy, Ian McNeice,
Yeah.
John Malkovich. John Malkovich played Huma Kavula, who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
written entirely for this movie, didn't exist before this film. Pretty interesting. Thomas Lennon, who's been in loads of TV, he was the computer on the ship. He's a famous person. I'd not heard of them before, but they've done lots of stuff. And remember that hologram head that shows up just as they're like approaching that planet and the nukes get launched?
Yeah.
That was a guy called Simon Jones, and he played Arthur Dent in the BBC's radio and
Shit, that's
TV
pretty cool.
version of this.
Whoa, mad.
Yeah. So speaking of the TV and radio show, did anyone know about Hitchhiker's Guide in any other form other than the books?
Yeah, I haven't experienced many of them. The the only one I have experienced outside of the movie, this thing, I haven't even read the books. I've wanted to for years and I've just never got around to it. The only one I have experienced is probably the weirdest one, which was a Hitchhiker's Guide text adventure game from like way back in the early PC days. I just got this. The BBC hosted it like on their official website, so I must have spent a good weekend or two just like playing through that and mostly achieving nothing because text adventure games from the like 80s and 90s are bizarre and want strange things from you. You know.
Yep. But yeah, originally it was the radio show that came first. I think it was the first couple of seasons. Then it got written as a book, a couple of books, and then the books kind of expanded. And then the radio series expanded, and then they were also doing a TV show at the same time. But overall, it's been, as I say, a radio comedy broadcast that started in the 70s. It was then adapted into a stage show, novels, comic books, 1981 TV show, that 1984 video game you were talking about, Sam, and of course, the feature film that you're talking about.
Oh my god, I didn't realize it was
It's been
this
everything.
big.
Oh yeah. It's mad.
I thought it was a book.
So much to it.
I thought it was a book and a film. I thought that's all it was.
It's weird too because
Yeah,
it extends into so many places. One of our best mates, their mate owns a cafe, a nerd themed cafe.
Yes.
I want to say in Warrington, it's called the Cafe at the End of the Universe, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Direct reference to the restaurant at the end of the universe,
Yeah.
which was the title of one of the other books that he did. He was never able to finish the 6th book. There were only 5 books when I started reading them, and I was way too young to be reading those. I'll be honest. There's a bit in one of them where Arthur, and I'm pretty sure it's Trillian, eventually end up hooking up and have sex while they're flying midair.
Nice.
Because they learn to fly, because learning to fly is just throwing yourself at the ground and missing. Which is brilliant. Genuinely, that's a quote from the book, and yeah, I was too young to really be reading that, but yeah, the 6th book, Douglas Adams started it, and it was finished by Ian Colfer, who
is that Artemis
the author
Fowl?
of Artemis Fowl, which also got that really crap film on Disney Plus recently. I've not seen it, but I don't want to. When did you guys first hear about Hitchhiker's Guide? Did you know it was a book first?
I mean, I've just kind of known about it for like ages. I knew it's existed. The only thing I knew about it was there was a film and there was a book, and I knew the whole 42 thing, but that was it really. I knew that, yeah. I didn't know much about it.
Fair enough. What about you, Amelia?
To me, it's been one of those films I've avoided for a while because it was on one of those days where it's like, it's a do nothing day in school, there's different films in different rooms, go have fun. We're playing Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy in this room, so you can stay or you can go find another room. Half of us got up and left.
Wow.
So I don't know, my introduction to this film was I didn't care about it.
Fair enough.
I knew it was probably a book, but I didn't know there was this much like to do with it, which is crazy.
So much. It's quite surprising that the first film we got, despite the fact there've been all these other adaptations since the 70s, wasn't until 2005. And that's because they tried to make it into a movie several times over. Started, as I say, back in the 70s, and loads of producers kept approaching him like, oh, can we make this into a movie? And he was really reluctant because it didn't want to just be Star Wars with jokes.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, if have any of you guys seen Spaceballs?
Yeah, I've seen Spaceballs.
I have.
Yeah.
Parts of it.
It's kind of crap, right?
Yeah, I liked it when I was like 12, but I liked it when I was 12. You know, I feel like that
says everything, doesn't it? And I feel like if it had been made back then, that's exactly what this movie would have been.
Yeah.
Not so much for parody, but yeah, go on.
The only joke I remember from Spaceballs, And to be fair, it still makes me laugh now. It's the one where they're trying to find out where the main characters are, so they put in a copy of Spaceballs.
They watch the movie.
They fast forward it. They watch the movie. We're like, right, where are they? They watch me, but they catch up to where they are, and he's like looking at the screen as it's like they're currently. It makes me laugh.
That is really good.
That I remember.
Yeah.
That's
Rick
the only joke
Moranis, I think
remember
Rick
of it,
Moranis is a big reason why that works so well. It is good.
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
That stuff.
So in 1982, Adams wrote 3 different versions of the script. Every one was slightly different. Like, it was never. He was determined that the films would never be a direct adaptation of the book. It'd always be its own separate thing, its own separate script. Which is why we ended up having a whole new character eventually. He was never in the books or the radio show. It was a whole new guy. They tried again in 2001. This was just before he died. And they were going to have the director of Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
Whoa.
The deal was all set and secured, but then after his death, they were like, we'll
Wait, who died?
that. Douglas Adams died.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you meant the guy who directed Austin Powers died. I was like...
No. After Douglas Adams' death.
Oh, right, okay.
So then a new script was written again, finished, and that's the one we got. So generally, critically, it's been pretty well received.
Yeah.
Which is good. I've got that Roger Ebert guy, found his review of it. He gave it a 2 out of 4. I feel like his rating system is so crap.
It's it's bizarre, isn't it?
50%? Because what did he give Vertigo? Well, that was a straight 4.
Vertigo was 4. Yeah, Vertigo. What was it? Vertigo was a 4 out of 4, and then Bill and Ted 2 was like a 3 or a 3.5 or something.
Oh yeah, it was something
really
ridiculous.
weird.
Yeah.
Not that our ranking system is.
I was just about to say ours is
much
all
better.
Other films like probably Dragon Ball Z or something is probably above Vertigo at this point on ours.
Oh no, I know. I will
something
not let that
ridiculous.
happen. Nah, I've seen that Dragon Ball movie. That's not good.
So yeah, generally this film is considered better than Spaceballs, but worse than Galaxy Quest. That isn't an Ebert quote, by the way. That's just generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into the movie itself. We get this opening of this documentary style look at dolphins and all these different like water parks and stuff with a voiceover from Stephen Fry. And they start singing, these dolphins, and then fuck off and swim into space. And they sing the song So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, which, again, that's another quote that stuck with me. So much so it ended up being my yearbook quote, because I was like, and what else am I gonna
Nice.
put? Did you guys have a yearbook? And if so, what was your quote?
No, we
You
didn't have
didn't.
one.
We
You
were
didn't have
meant
one?
to, but didn't get one.
That's
Okay.
that's posh kid school stuff. That, you know what I mean?
We did, right? We did.
We
Sorry, go on, Joe.
I was gonna say we weren't posh enough to have a school, but we all just wanted to leave. We bought on each other's shirts and stuff, though. That was our
We
yearbook.
did that too. That was good fun. Go on,
So-
Sam, what was your quote?
I was, at that point in school, I was a disenfranchised, weeaboo outcast, right? Okay. And I wasn't.
I don't like where this is going.
So I decided, right, I'll play a little game. I'll write a nice quote. I'll write a genuinely nice quote in the yearbook. Here's the catch. It's in kanji. I've written it in Japanese. Right? Here's the catch. Okay?
Okay.
None of the teachers trusted me. None of them trusted me. They didn't know what it was. They couldn't read it. They did not trust what I wanted to put in this book. They threatened to take me out. They were like, you've got to change it. And I was like, I'm not
Take you out
changing
of the
it.
yearbook.
I'm going to take you out of the yearbook. It's like you never existed. And I was like, well, I don't want to exist here anyway. And
Wow.
I remember one of the prefects fought on my behalf, and like it was like a school council meeting actually, fought on my behalf to keep me in the yearbook. So when it came out, I'm there with no text at all. Everyone's got a quote and I'm just blank.
What was
Oh
your
my
quote?
God.
What was it? What was it?
Oh God, I can't fucking remember.
So rather than have the initiative to translate it themselves, just like copy and paste it into Google Translate.
Yeah.
They.
Well, not to be
Just
fair,
like-
we physically wrote them down. So I handed it a sheet with like ink written kanji, basically. So they couldn't just copy and paste it with it. They would have actually had to figure out what it was.
Could you not just have told them what it said?
No, that was part of the joke. The part of the joke was that they weren't going to know.
You awkward little shit. But anyway, we get to the actual film where it's not a documentary anymore, and we meet Arthur Dent, who has just the most normal name in the universe, just straightforward. And we discover that his house is going to get destroyed to make way for a bypass. He's got this little cottage in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, nah, knocking it down so we can build a big road.
Yeah. Everyone needs bypasses. Carry on.
Yeah, they need to be built.
I might occasionally just chime in with a quiet little quote. Don't let that interrupt you.
No, fair enough. And then we meet Ford Prefect very soon after, who's... Yeah, his name, whenever I was reading the book, I was like, that's Ford? That's a car. Why is he called, what's that? And the reason for that is because he was nearly killed by a car when he first landed, because he thought it was a person. And that car was a Ford Prefect, which is where he got his name from. There's going to be loads of trivia in this that is way too in-depth, and it's because it's been time to explain it in a radio show or a book or a TV series. So a lot of the fun bits of trivia will be very... Why does that need to be written down? And it's sort of the nature of this story and the way the book was written. So there'll be lots of that. Soz. Yeah, so Ford immediately takes Arthur to the pub and he's like, right, the world's going to end. Get drunk and eat some peanuts because it will help for the teleport thing that they do. It turns out that Ford is from... This is a fun little callback to another episode we did. He's from the vicinity of Beetlejuice. Hey, Beetlejuice. Hey. What up? We meet Trisha in some book style... I thought they were very book-esque flashbacks. Where, but then again, if we hadn't had them in this style, we wouldn't have known who she was later on.
Yeah.
And while he's been in the pub, his house got destroyed. And he's like, he's fuming, because of course he is. But very soon after, the entire planet just gets destroyed to make way for a hyperspace bypass.
Yeah.
Which I think is
amazing.
I probably love that, you know.
There's that brilliant shot during that sequence, right? It's amazing. Well, it's sequence, I should say. It's a good shot, and then it's an excellent sequence of Arthur looking at the ruins of his home. And it's like a low-angle shot, and above him is this gigantic spaceship that he doesn't even comprehend as being there because he's so concentrating on his little house. And then it does the dramatic music where it's like da, 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 and it keeps pulling back on every single one, and it does it maybe 10 more times than it should. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So they teleport off. Ford's got this little hitchhiking ring where he sticks his thumb out and it teleports them up onto one of the Vogon destroying ships. And we discover that Ford is actually a journalist for this book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We mainly get that when the first we really see of it is when Ford shoves that little babble fish into Arthur's ear, and we get the fun little animation of what the babble fish is. What do we think of all the little animations we saw throughout of the Stephen Fry explaining bits and bobs?
I really appreciated them, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty neat way of universe building, but not being too anal about it.
It's a fun way to do exposition. Like, it wasn't dull, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially because then you've got all this, like you've said, you've got all this, like, extra stuff that, you know, it's like when you adapt a book, you've got all the extra information, you got to show it somehow if it's key to the story, but you don't want to be told it, do you? I mean, it's boring then. Just get told it. It's one way reading it, but, like, having a guy be like, hey, exposition. It's a bit shit.
Yeah.
Bit shit.
A lot of the animators made like quite rude animations for, well, especially the Babblefish one, and the one we end up getting in the final movie is this guy milking a cow, and then discovers because he's got Babblefish in that the cow really likes him doing that. I don't know how many others were were like cut or what they were, but I love that. It was so kind of. I'm pretty sure it would have like gone straight over my head first time I watched it when I was younger, but good, funny. Yeah, they then get dumped, but they're going to get found by the Vogons and then dumped into space, but not before being read the terrible Vogon poetry. What do we think of the Vogons, by the way? Get introduced to them very quickly, and they're just weird jelly bean looking things with noses above their eyes and whatever.
You know what, actually, right? Because I said before the only things I knew about the film was thingy. I have actually seen... I mean, like I said before, I watched the film secondhand anyway, but I didn't remember anything for it, but these... What were they called?
The Vogons.
Vogons, yeah. I have actually seen these, but I didn't know they were from this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where I've seen them. You know when you're watching something, you're like, oh shit, I've like seen that before.
Yeah, sure.
But like, I didn't think they were like... I don't know, in my brain, whenever I thought they were from like some kids' film or something, I don't know. But I don't know where I would have seen them.
Yeah, they do look like they're kind of in a bad person in a suit kind of kids' film.
It looks very Men in Black.
Yeah, it does look very Men in
it
Black.
does,
That's a
doesn't
good
it?
shout. I did
Like-
appreciate seeing... I don't know if it's just because of how sci-fi cinema is today versus how it was in 2005. I don't know if the same effect would have been true for initial viewers, but I really appreciated seeing those suits. Goofy as they were and how like unwieldy they clearly were as you see them try and move around, it added a sense of charm to it, I thought.
Much better than if they tried to CGI them.
100%.
The only example, I don't know why this example came to mind, it might be because Joe said kids' film. Remember Spy Kids? Where they had
Yeah.
these thumb people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just looked so bad.
Yeah.
That was around the same time as this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Probably. Shall I have a look?
So I think
Like
it was definitely
2005, I
much,
think it is, yeah.
much better off for having physical suits. Although I can't imagine how atrocious it would have been to be inside one
Yeah.
of those.
Good
God,
God,
yeah.
2000.
Very fucking
Imagine how heavy it would be.
2001?
Wait, for Spy
It was
Kids?
2001.
Wow.
Yeah, and the
shit.
second one's 2002, third one's 2003, yeah, 2001.
Oh, man.
They are way older than I thought they were. Hot damn.
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine that?
Jesus.
Oh, guys, it's time for the annual Spy Kids movie.
Imagine we're still getting them now, or up to like Spy Kids 19 or whatever. But yeah, so that they're dumped into space and they manage to survive purely by chance. And throughout this, Stephen Fry is like reading excerpts.
Yeah, excerpts. Yeah. Wait,
Little-
You've got me to doubt it now.
Is there a P in there?
He's reading lines.
He's reading little bits from the guide.
Excerpts, isn't it that?
Excerpts.
Excerpts.
Anyway, and they end up surviving just purely by chance because the big old teapot-looking spaceship comes along, and it is called the Heart of Gold, which Zaphod Beeblebrox, the president of the universe, stole because he's an asshole, I guess.
Yeah.
And it turns out that we've all... Trillian, well, she's now called Trillian, is on there as well, because her name needed to sound more spacey. And Marvin and Zaphod are all on board this teapot ship that can travel around with this improbability drive, which I'll talk about that a little later. Actually, I'll talk about it now. So when it arrives, it sort of teleports and all these different things before ever then becoming back to this thing again. And I've written someone else's. I didn't write this down. I stole this fact, but I like it. It transforms into a bell, some cherries, a melon, and a lemon, which are all things you see on a slot machine.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Emphasised by how random it is.
I didn't put that together. I should have done.
Neither.
I didn't put
But-
that together.
No.
Yeah, so there's lots of little, as I say, I feel like because it's a visual form of media, they can do much more of these sorts of kinds of added Easter eggs and hints
Yeah.
and nods and stuff.
I think if you were to write that down, it might even be too on the nose, you know?
Yeah, like it transformed into a bell and then some cherries, and then this is to symbolise that it's random because those are all things you see on a slot machine. Yeah, it would have been really shit, wouldn't it? But yeah, the Vogons are like, oh, that's the president. He's been kidnapped by someone. We need to go and chase him. Turns out the president just kidnapped himself. So the Vogons go and sign some forms because they're like that, and the chase begins. But it's not too much here, other than while they're on board the spaceship, we see that lightsaber knife that toasts.
It's pretty
bread
cool.
As you cut it, I like that. Someone's made one of those, you know.
Yeah.
It's not quite a lightsaber. It's
Oh my
a
God.
YouTuber called Colin Furze who makes loads of weird contraptions and stuff, and one of them is just, you know how if you like run electricity through a bit of metal, it just gets super hot. He just did that to a bread knife, so he can toast bread as he cuts it. I can't imagine that'll taste very good, but whatever.
No.
Ultimately, the main part of the plot is that we learn about this big computer called Deep Thought, who is voiced by someone well famous, and I didn't realise until I looked up the cast of this movie. If you know, don't say, but does anyone want to... I was going to say Sam. I know you know this. But Joe and Amelia, did you recognise that voice? Did you pick up on who it was?
I recognised it. I didn't actually... It's one of those things, I recognised it, but I didn't... I didn't actually, like, weirdly look it up who it was.
Fair enough. Amelia, did you...
I'm gonna say no, but I currently have all the information up on Google for me to kind of go back to look at just in case. And just as you said that, you're like, oh, it was voiced by Deep Thought. So I was like, who? And then you said it was voiced by, and I was like, no, but yes now.
So that's Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
What? Nah.
Yeah, it's
Is that
Helen
so?
Mirren. Yeah.
They got Helen Mirren to
Oh,
be in this
that's-
movie, and she voices a big computer.
This is like like a year or two after she was the Queen as well in that really famous film.
That's
I
like
can't remember
not
the
who
name
I
of.
thought it was.
Is this just called
Oh
the
my
Queen?
God.
It could just be called the Queen. I don't know. But
That's actually Helen Mirren.
that's
It's
actually-
called the Queen.
Nah.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. Did
Oh
you
my
not believe
God.
me? Are you googling it for yourself now?
Well, yeah, because I didn't think
um,
it was Helen Mirren. Like, I recognised the voice, but I didn't
Don't
think
look
it was
too
her.
much further because I've got another one I'm going to ask you later on.
Do you know who it kind of
sounds?
sounds like as well? She kind of sounds a bit like Tilda Swinton in this role as Deep Throat.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what I thought it was. Maybe, I don't know. I did not think it was Helen Mirren, though. Jesus Christ.
I feel like if they were to remake this today, Tilda Swinton would be a very good shout.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Or just bring Helen Mirren back. Just do that.
Yeah, she's not dead.
Yeah.
No, she isn't.
Certainly not.
So here's a really, really trivial fact. The big Deep Thought computer has a little Apple logo on it.
Does it?
Is it?
I didn't believe that. That's why I had to look it up and found a screenshot of the little Apple logo embedded on the side.
Fair enough.
And so the first 3 Apple Mac computers in the UK were owned by Douglas Adams and Stephen Fry.
Wow.
Oh my
So-
god,
What
it
about
really
the
has
other
an apple. What the hell? That's so weird.
Yeah. So, but those 2 were like good mates, and I can see that. Of course
Yeah, I
they
can
were.
see that, yeah.
Of course they were good mates.
Him, like Douglas Adams, Stephen Fry, and Hugh Laurie all in a room. Like, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie was originally going to could have been Douglas Adams. No, not Douglas Adams. Arthur Dent at one point.
He would have
I
been a
can
good
see
pick.
that.
Would have been a good pick.
He would have been a good pick. I think it's kind of brutal. At one point, they were going to cast Hugh Grant, but he was decided to be too handsome.
Oh, no.
The fact that they ended up casting Martin Freeman, like, yeah, he's not that handsome. He'll do.
It's pretty boring. You'll do.
Well,
Bless him.
yeah.
He's a hobbit now. He's better than everyone.
Exactly.
Could you imagine, right, if, like, Martin Freeman discovered this podcast and he didn't even know that fact? He just got it off some, like,
Son of a
random
bitch.
movie
Really
podcast.
sorry to write that. to
He's
you,
just like,
Martin.
oh, this is it. Oh, I was in Hitchhiker's Guide to go. Let's give it a watch. And he says that. And he's like, fucking what? Smacks his computer off.
Immediately starts
Gets on the
getting on
phone
the
to
phone to
Benedict
Richard. Like,
Cumberbatch. Yeah. He's like, fucking Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, hey, bro, guess what the fuck they just said about me on this, like, internet podcast, bro? Benedict Cumberbatch is just all like, you know what? I don't even know. I can't even do his voice.
Don't try it.
Nah, don't. Right.
But yeah, so the computer was built by these pan-dimensional beings. I don't say interdimensional, but I think they're pan-dimensional.
I think they're
Anyway,
pan-dimensional as well, yeah.
pan-dimensional. And they ask it, give us the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And very famously, the computer says, 42. I'm like, wait, what?
After they've waited for like millions of years as well.
Oh yeah, it's been computing away for millennia. And they say, well, the question was kind of shit. Give me a better question, and then I'll be able to like answer it. So it said it was then going to build a computer to calculate the ultimate question. Was anyone else getting Rick and Morty vibes at this point?
I can see the influence a bit.
I guess sort of now you've said it, like reverse Rick and Morty vibes, because I was aware of this before I was aware of Rick and Morty, so
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that probably takes Rick and Morty. That is definitely takes a few influences from this.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to find out otherwise.
Yeah. So yeah, in trying to find the planet with the big computer, which is called Magrathea, which is where Zaphod is heading. He's going to, because he knows about this. So like, right, we're gonna go and we're gonna find that out. The improbability drive takes them to a different planet. Couldn't remember what it was called, but I looked it up. It's like Vodel 6. It's not important. And Zaphod has some unfinished business on there with John Malkovich's character, Huma Kavula. As I say, he was exclusive for this movie. The main reason he has like beef with him is because he was a presidential candidate as well, but lost because Zaphod won. But anyway, turns out that Huma Kavula is a preacher for some sneeze god worshipping people, which is brilliant that they end their prayers with "Achoo."
Bless you.
Again, I was getting pretty hard Monty Python vibes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which when I found out that Douglas Adams had done some writing for them, of course. And it turns out that John Malkovich has the coordinates for the planet they're trying to get to. But in return for those, he says, right, there's going to be a gun there. Bring me back that gun. Oh, and also I want one of Zaphod's heads, please. So they leave one of Zaphod's heads behind, and they say, all right, we'll bring you back this gun in return for the coordinates. So they get them, plug them into the computer, and then vanish off.
I thought that was a good creative decision, by the way, because I don't know if this is controversial, but like, I didn't like Zaphod's extra head. I just thought it was annoying. It wasn't even like endearingly annoying. I was just like, this guy. Like normal Zaphod's a dick, but it's kind of like I don't know, kind of like Star-Lord. He's just this oblivious space like weirdo who's super horny. Like I can dig with that. But the extra head was annoying. I wanted to say as well, by the way, on the topic, because I'm glad the Vogons went CGI because they haven't aged. But there's a bit where, because Huma Kavula is revealed to be like just a toy saw person with like a million tiny little spider legs and no eyeballs. His eyes are like in his glasses. And all of that, the CGI visuals of that hold up very well, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I didn't know that this film was from 2005 when I started watching it. I knew it was from then, but I honestly thought that it was from like 2009, 2010. Okay. So to find out that it was like 2005, and I don't know, it just kind of like surprised me. It's like when you watch like Jurassic Park, and those like CGI kind of holds up a bit. It's kind of a bit weird. You don't expect it to.
Mm-hmm. I suppose because it was quite subtle, the CGI for Huma Kavula. It was, not a lot could go wrong with that. As we say, if it'd been whole characters, like in I Am Legend, that was 2007, right?
Yeah.
Even then, that just didn't look good. But yeah, in their escape from this planet, Trillian gets captured by the Vogons because they think that she's the one who kidnapped Zaphod. And so before they go off to this mysterious planet with the big computer on it, they decide they're going to go and free Trillian instead. So they go off in an escape pod. I can't remember why, but they do. Marvin, Ford, Zaphod, and Arthur all go off in this little red escape pod. Land on Vogsphere, the home planet of the Vogons, which just looks grey and drab and boring as fuck. Which is just exactly what the Vogons are. They crash land on this beach. Oh, there's that little crab bit where they just crush that crab.
Poor crab.
Funny.
This is 2 episodes in a row where crabs have just been mutilated unnecessarily.
They run across that.
I felt equally as unsympathetic for this crab. Fucking crab, you know what I mean?
Fuck crabs.
Fuck crabs, you know what I mean? The only crab I respect is Mr. Krabs, you know what I mean? That's what I'm
Hashtag fuck crabs.
Hashtag fuck crabs.
Yeah, man.
They run across this funny little beach with these weird fly-swatting snake things.
That attack you when you think.
Yes, so it's pretty good that the Vogons live on this planet because they don't have any original thoughts. Kind of handy.
Yeah.
Nice.
While Trillion's being tortured and whatever, well, I say tortured, she's going to get loaded into that big box with some sort of monster in it. She finds out that it was Zaphod who ordered the destruction of Earth because he thought he was signing an autograph.
Yeah. It's so good.
Bloody
That weird little monster, by the way, because we don't really get to see it. It's just like an eyeball and a bunch of tentacles, right? It really reminded me of what were those fucking things in The Force Awakens? You know, that really terrible sequence.
Oh god.
What were they called?
Enough.
I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, I can't think what they're called.
Yeah, the Rathtars. It reminded me of a
meat
Rathtar.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they go into like this queue to go and get to the reception desk essentially to get her released, and they have to queue up behind all these people. And
I'm guessing you've got little trivia about these people.
Oh, just a few bits. One of these little people that's sat chilling in the queue is the robot, the Marvin from the original 80s TV show.
Who was a paranoid android instead of a depressed robot. Yeah.
Yes, which rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Paranoid android. Other than that, I haven't got too much more about those characters, actually. I thought I had more. Do you have any more info?
I
Sam,
don't. It's one of those where I'm pretty sure every time I watch that sequence, I do recognize more things within it, and then they fuck off out of my head, later.
Yeah, fair enough. The Vogon handwriting, this is another fun little random one, is English shorthand.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's a nice touch.
I like that. Eventually they end up freeing Trillion or Trisha by signing the correct form, because then they need to get like the presidential prisoner release form or something. It's very specific, but they eventually do it. And they escape and they make their way to Magrathea. Also, every other scene or whatever, there've been mice just sort of chilling, just not really that important, chewing on wires of whatever. You don't think anything of it. You think they're just mice. Spoilers, they're not, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, they get there and it's all snowy, and this doesn't seem like the same planet. And they have those three big. They reminded me of those air guns. Remember those big blue air guns you could get?
Yeah.
Like the thing, and it shot.
Oh my god, yeah.
They were sick then.
They do look like those. Yeah, you're totally right.
Those.
Yeah.
So three of the characters jump through. I think it's Ford, Trillion, and Zaphod. They jump through one that takes them to the big computer. When Arthur tries, it's not switched on anymore. So he's left behind with Marvin, just sort of being depressing. Oh yeah, so the three that go off, they find the big computer. They say, "Oh, tell us the answer." And they're like, "Oh, well, actually, if you not remember, I was going to build this computer to work out what the question was." Soz. And they go, "Oh, okay. Oh, but what about this gun? We were told there was a gun." And they go down into a little vault or whatever and find this telescope-looking thing that's a point-of-view gun, which is such a brilliant idea.
Oh, it's really good, isn't it?
Imagine if these existed. Politics would just kind of stop, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they'd stop, but like...
Not quite. You'd still have a government and whatever.
Oh, that'd be amazing, though. Can you imagine watching the House of Commons where someone makes a speech and then when someone's trying to rebut it, someone just pulls out a fucking gun and goes, poof!
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, yeah, that makes... Yep, sure, no, yeah, okay. That's it.
It's so good.
Oh, man.
And it's while they're doing all of this, we learn some more background and emotions about these characters. That isn't super important, but there you go. Then we meet Bill Nye's character, who is a character called Slarty Bartfast. And this is, I think, my favorite fact about all of this. Originally, when it was being written as a radio show, Douglas Adams wanted this name to be as rude as possible, but not be super rude. And so it started at one name, and slowly it got changed bit by bit because the BBC wouldn't allow it to be broadcast until they ended up with Slarty Bartfast. And the original name that this character was going to be called
I'm ready.
was Farty Fuckballs.
Oh my
Which
god.
is so good.
That's so good. Douglas Adams was basically playing that, that game you could play where you ask someone like a question of like, you ask them, would you do this thing that they obviously don't want to do for £1 million? And then you start to like work it down to figure out exactly how much. That's what Douglas Adams was playing with the BBC.
Yeah.
Farty fuckball.
Farty Fuckballs.
Amazing.
None of those
That's
words are
amazing.
spelt how you think. So it's like farty is PHARTI, fuck is PHUK, and
Nice.
balls is BORLZ. So
Nice.
fucking brilliant.
Fab.
But yeah, he shows up and he tells Arthur, "I'm a planet engineer. I design and make planets, not just me.
What a
lots of
role.
other
Oh my
people."
god.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's pretty big deal. And so they go through. I think they go through one of those other portals and end up on this like. It looks like it's just gonna be a scissor lift, but it's a bit more than that because it just sort of throws them around what seems like a whole universe.
I love that it's really janky at the start though, like you see it like
Yes.
shuffle around and
Just
then the other one comes around
juddering
the
along.
corner. It's good.
And then it just sort of like in which Charlie and the Chocolate Factory film is it? The one with the glass elevator. They sort of go up. It must have been the reboot with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, it
What's the
was.
Johnny Depp one, that one?
Yeah.
Across and whatever. It's kind of similar to that.
It's a great sequence, this. I think it's gorgeous,
Yeah,
going
it
across all the
looks-
planets and stuff.
It looks really good and is really interesting as well because you've got planets that are like cubes or like 3D hexagon shapes. One of the planets is just Douglas Adams' head.
Yeah.
Just chilling in the background is just his head. And he reveals that Earth was this computer. Big reveal. Earth was the computer designed by Deep Thought to calculate the ultimate question, which would then answer the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
I
They had
love like the character of Slightly Bartfast who has this incredible job like engineering planets, but he's almost more down to earth than Arthur is,
Yeah.
He's so normal and chilled out and compared to everyone else in space. There's that one line where he says, I'd take being happy over being right any day. And Arthur goes, "Are you happy?" And he goes, "Well, no, but..."
Yeah. Another one of his great lines that I feel gets quoted quite a lot is when Arthur's talking about, I always thought I was part of this bigger universe, that there was something more than just this. And then Slarty Bartfast is like, "Oh no, that's just paranoia. That's perfectly normal. Everyone in the universe has that." Just immediately shuts him down like, "No, that's totally normal." And it turns out there's a backup of Earth, an Earth 2, which can be put straight back where Earth 1 was, and life can just continue as was. So Arthur goes back, he gets taken back to his little cottage, goes in, and his 3 friends are there. They're already there, just having this great big tea party, seeming kind of high or drunk or something. So the food they're eating is just kind of dodgy, knockout food made by these mice. It turns out these mice are these pan-dimensional beings, as Bill Nighy's character told us earlier. And Arthur Dent again tries to explain, "Oh no, we were experimenting on mice." "Oh no, it turns out it was the other way around all along." And the mice reveal that it's Arthur's brain that holds the key. They need his brain.
Take his brain. Sorry.
No, that was brilliant. So while Arthur's sort of pleading for his life, he sort of comes up with all these random bits of just philosophy, I guess, just really shitty philosophy to try and stop them. In the end, results are just sort of breaking the chair open and killing the mice with a teapot. Brilliant. Just slams a teapot on top of them, avoids having his brain cut out his head, and they're fine. But they're not fine, because the Vogons followed them and shooting at the house and trying to destroy everything, and much like stormtroopers, are terrible fucking shots.
Yeah.
And they end up escaping because Marvin's also there eventually. He picks up the point of view gun, shoots all the Vogons with it, and they become too depressed to carry on and just fall over and give up.
Love that.
And they're like, "Oh, well, there we go, that's it." And I love the bit where all these Vogons just get piled in the back of the van, and they're all kind of squashed and squished up against the side.
What's the point?
Oh, what's the point anymore? And then that's pretty much it. They all hop back on the funny little teapot spaceship and decide they're all hungry, want a bite to eat, even though they've had a feast of all that shitty food. And they're going to head off to the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Sequel bait.
Sequel bait indeed.
Well, I was actually going to ask, like, because I mean, there's all the books. Like, was there ever plans to make a sequel? Were you going to go into that?
Would you want to see a sequel?
It's a difficult question.
Not
you
now.
know.
I don't know if I would now.
No?
If they were I don't know. No, I know. I feel like
if someone discovered like a partially finished Douglas Adams script, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
If that doesn't exist, I feel like I don't want to see someone else's interpretation of Douglas Adams' work.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, no, that's very fair. I think if they were to wait, don't know how long that for, maybe at least 10 years, and then maybe reboot it, and then make a sequel from those.
Maybe.
I think that could be really good. I think, even though we've already said that some of the special effects in this are pretty solid and they kind of hold up, I still think that with today's technology of what they can do, it would look even crisper.
It looked really cool.
And just gorgeous.
That's my biggest criticism of this movie, actually, is that Garth Jennings or maybe even the DOP, I don't know how much of the workload they shared. There is some really nice shots in this, but they are kind of few and far between. A lot of the movie just feels like, I'll just stick a camera, just make sure the actors... Do you know what I mean? It's not particularly visually interesting. Yeah. Sometimes, though, it is. And it's because it's sometimes interesting that it's more aggravating, you know? If it was boring the whole way through, then whatever, who cares? I like maybe... I don't know if I like the word visionary, but yeah, more of a creative director or DOP to take this reins. I'd like to see that, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I said to you, Jacob, remember, like the other week, I am surprised that this hasn't been like adapted into like a TV show by like the BBC or something.
I'm glad you said that.
I think they're making a comeback.
A TV series for Hulu was announced.
Okay, weird.
It was announced last year, July 2019.
We don't even have Hulu over here, though.
I know, but there's ways around that. Get a VPN or something, you know.
Oh, man.
It's set to
Why aren't any of the VPNs sponsoring us? That would have been perfect. What a segue.
What a segue that was, It's set to premiere next year in 2021, and production began this summer. Except, no, it didn't.
Well.
Because the whole world's gone to shit. But maybe it will be good. There are several series planned. I think each series would look at a book.
Well, that's how I would imagine they would have done it, yeah, if like, they just do each book as a series, yeah.
I think that's probably the best way of adapting this, but this film isn't bad, especially as it isn't really an adaptation of the book. It's a separate script.
Yeah, 100%.
It was never really designed to be that. I will quickly touch on awards. Because it didn't get very many. It won one, and that was for the Golden Trailer Awards. Yeah, it was the most original trailer apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I remember the trailer. I've never seen the trailer, so can't be that original.
Either.
There are trailer awards.
Yeah, there are trailer awards. There's awards for everything. I will get into some of these other awarding bodies in a sec. But those awards, it was also nominated for Best Voiceover, which I can only presume would have been Stephen Fry.
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah.
So, it was also nominated for Casting Society of America Awards, the Empire Awards, the Golden Schmoes Awards, International Online Cinema Awards, Online Film and Television Association, and the Teen Choice Awards.
Okay.
Oh, and
that's the only one out of those.
Stinkers Bad Movie Awards as well.
Wow.
Yeah, but man,
it was nominated for various different categories throughout those.
Well, see, this is a weird thing with this movie. Is when I was watching it as a kid, I was watching it because I very recently got access to the internet. This is maybe 2010-ish. I want to say, maybe a little bit before it, right? And there was still a lot of stinkers online that were angry about this movie. Douglas Adams fans, in quotation marks, that did not like this movie at all. And look, right, it's not perfect, and I've got some points of criticism to make in the final thoughts segment. But I think if you're this angry about a Douglas Adams film, you're sort of missing the point. It's just laugh at the stupid jokes. He's just trying to make you smile, you know?
Yeah.
So it was nominated for Best Casting in a Comedy Movie. It was also nominated as Best Comedy and Best British Film at the Empire Awards.
Yeah, nice.
Again, it didn't win. The winners were... Best Comedy was Team America World Police.
Right.
Oh, man. Good film, that, to be fair. I like that film. Good film.
Fair enough.
It is all right. They're good, Matt Parker and Trey Stone. They're pretty funny.
Best British Film was Pride and Prejudice. So, I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to go up against that.
Lame.
At those golden...
Romance.
Two literary classics. What can you do?
Dear.
Jane Austen can suck Douglas Adams' dick.
Can't believe you said that.
Not proud of that.
Why did you say that?
If we ever do t-shirts, that's going on a t-shirt.
At one point it was nominated for Best Sci-Fi Movie. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but it lost to Revenge of the Sith.
I do understand why that happened.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like Revenge of the Sith has got more funnier lines.
You will try.
Like the thing with that is though, it's funnier because they weren't meant to be funny, but
yeah.
So you're like, oh, like every time they say something, you're like,
just anything Anakin says.
George.
Literally.
Oh, come on, George.
My boy. That's my favourite line in the movie.
A couple of these awards it was nominated for as well were Best Original Song. Somehow.
For So Long and Thanks for All the
That's
Fish,
the
I
one.
assume. Yeah.
Yes, it didn't win. It Brokeback Mountain's song, A Love That Will Never Grow Old, won instead. I've not heard that song, but it's
I don't know.
Mountain, isn't it? Again, it was beaten by Revenge of the Sith for Best Action Adventure. It was also nominated for Best Rapper in a Movie. That's a category. Because, what's his face? Ford's a rapper, I guess. It lost. Nelly was in The Longest Yard. So, he won.
Right.
He won that
Wow.
one.
Is that the thing you won? Is that the Adam Sandler one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It must be.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, it was nominated for, specifically the category Worst Song, so it was nominated for both Best and Worst. It didn't win or lose that award. Dukes of Hazzard, These Boots Are Made for Walking.
That's fair, yeah, that's a good choice.
Right.
I used to know someone who really loved Dukes of Hazzard, Like, loved it, the film.
Okay, for real. Are they a Nazi
don't.
now?
Wait, what?
Are they a Nazi now? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, the person.
Are they Trump supporters now? Are they? Do they uncomfortably ask you about minorities occasionally? Are they a really big fan of German tanks?
You know what? Actually, saying that, I do actually know someone who is all of those things, but it's not the same.
That's a conversation for another day. Gee.
Yeah. It's the type of person that would sit in the library and look at pictures of tanks during dinner time, you know what I mean? One of those kind of guys. But it's not the same person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with, as I try to do most times, with fun facts. Again, there are quite a few of these, because there's so much information about Hitchhiker's Guide. I've tried to keep to just the ones that are visual-based or film-based. As we were talking about earlier, how Douglas Adams wrote some of that Doctor Who stuff, the Sharda stuff. One of the planets in that big room is the planet Sharda from the Doctor Who thing. Hang on. I've got quite a big section on this Sharda stuff. Oh, some of the characters and settings and things from that Sharda show were then reused for the Dirk Gently stuff. Yeah.
I never saw. Well, I watched the first episode of Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency on Netflix. Did anyone watch any more?
It, but I've just not got around to it.
Fair.
More of Douglas Adams's face shows up in this movie. At one point, one of the things the teapot ship transforms into is just his face.
Right at the end, yeah.
And his nose is one of the cupboard door handles in Huma Gabula's office. I mean, you might as well. If you need a nose for something, why not use his, I guess. One that's kind of, well, interesting, but I don't know. In the scene where they're at the pub, Ford pays for the beer with a 50. In the 80s TV show, he paid with a $5. So that's kind of a depressing thought about inflation or whatever.
It's not fun.
More recently, they made a radio show for a 6th season of this radio show back in 2018, based on the 6th book, and the voice of the guide was Stephen Hawking.
Oh,
Whoa.
Which is kind of interesting.
Right?
The fact that they got him to come along and do those lines is brilliant.
that's pretty cool.
I like that. So yeah, the last bit, real world or real universe bits of trivia, I guess. 2 asteroids have been named after both Arthur Dent and Douglas Adams. Which I
that's
think
cute.
is
Oh,
so
that's cool.
cool.
Yeah.
A species of moth and fish have also been named after Zaphod Beeblebrox,
I think I remember the fish.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
That's cool.
which is pretty cool. There's a song and album by Radiohead named after stuff from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is mad.
Right.
So, Paranoid Android, is a
Yeah,
song
yeah.
that they have, which is just named after Marvin, and the whole. This one's kind of tenuous, but I thought I'd write it down anyway. That album is called OK Computer, which is how Zaphod addresses his the computer on board.
Do you know if anyone? I assume you could probably get this from some bars somewhere. Do you know if anyone has attempted to make a pan-galactic gargle blaster, the best drink in the universe?
Ooh.
I assume you could get this from some bars, and it's just
I imagine.
fucking everything,
Yeah.
What's it called?
The pan-galactic gargle blaster. Tastes like you're being hit over the head with a gold brick.
If there's anywhere that will do one, remember, what was that bar called that we've all been to before? Bar 21.
Bar 21,
I
yeah.
imagine they're the sort of place that'll have that.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming
I
up.
imagine.
It just comes up with the
Wild.
film. So I'm assuming
Maybe we should try and invent a pan-galactic gargle blaster. And
you type that word into Google and it goes, no results containing all of your search terms are found. So
what on
it
earth?
doesn't exist.
I feel like when everything's passed over and we can all meet up and have a party, I'll try and make a recipe for a pan-galactic gargle blaster.
I think I found it.
Oh, what's in it? What's in a pan-galactic gargle
There's 3
blaster?
at the minute. I'll go for this one. It's got a rating of 3.5. Hang on, it's
Well,
taking
that's not the
absolutely
best drink in the
forever
universe, is it?
to So, this
only
one
okay.
takes 5 minutes to prepare. You need a tablespoon of gin, a tablespoon of light rum, a tablespoon of vodka, a tablespoon of tequila,
Yeah.
2 tablespoons of creme de menthe liqueur, 2 tablespoons of Galileo, and a cup of ice cubes and a sliced lemon. That sounds boring as heck.
Yeah, that's not very interesting. The lemon needs to be in there, but
Yeah.
oh man. Well, whatever. I'll do some research and I'll try and make a pan-galactic gargle blaster
That'll
for us all
be
one day.
amazing.
Yeah.
Last little fun fact, probably one of the more recent ones. Elon Musk is a huge Douglas Adams fan. And when he launched that Tesla into space, up on the dashboard was a big sign that says, "Don't panic."
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, getting Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the exposure it really needs, I guess. But yeah, that's my run through of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Nice, cool. So what we're going to do right now is give No. Yes, we're going to give any final thoughts we have on the movie, and each individually give it a score out of 10, and I'm going to use maths to give an overall score. Find an overall score. Oh, man, you can tell it's been a long time, can't you?
Yep.
Look, it's going to go on a list. Everyone's going to be mad. Because it's...
We're going to have to fight it out with every other one that's got the same score because it's so predictable.
Amelia, kick us off.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Like you say, you guys have kind of made me realise that this is actually quite a fun film. It's actually not that bad. And, you know, annoying teenage me shouldn't have been so, like, ridiculous about it. Yeah, it's cool. It's still not 100% a film I'd pop on, like, just casually in the background. Like, I can see why you guys have this nostalgia for it, because it seems really fun and it's got an amazing cast. But for me personally, I don't think I can give it any higher than a 6, and I don't know why. But yeah,
that's fair.
I do think it's quite fun.
Jacob?
Real quick, I completely forgot to talk about that other actor who I was very surprised was in this.
Oh yeah, you mentioned, yeah, go on.
There's a bit where the nukes get launched and one of them becomes a whale and one becomes a bowl of petunias. And the whale is doing all these internal monologue and then hits the ground. I'll just tell you, that whale was voiced by Bill Bailey.
Yes, it was.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know that watching it, I found that out later.
I was a big Bill Bailey fan when I was a kid. That's such a weird thing.
That's a very odd person.
I was a big Bill Bailey fan, so I spotted that instantly. But yeah, it's such a great bit.
But yeah, my thoughts. Similar to you, Amelia. When I first tried to watch this, I was like, "What is this? What is going on?" This, as I said, this isn't Star Wars. What? But after choosing to do this film, I think my love for it is just sort of increased. And it's one of the few films that we've done on podcast, one where I haven't watched recently, where I've gone, I want to watch that again. I want to stick it back on, I want to find it, and I want to watch it. Because it's just so what it is. It's exactly everything that it is, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm trying to buy time because I'm trying to decide what score I'm going to give it. I don't think I want to give it a 10 because I don't think it's... Although as good as it is, it's not a perfect film.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it an 8 because that's kind of the score I give for lots of films.
Well, it's gonna end up in that bracket. It's gonna. It's gonna.
I think if I was ranking it based on everything else there is to do with Hitchhiker's Guide and not just the movie itself, I would give it a 9. But based on just this movie and just what that movie is, I'm gonna give it an 8. Okay.
Fair. Joe?
I mean, I watched this film, like, 3 weeks ago or something. So it's not really fresh in my mind anymore. Like, I watched it probably, like, 2 days after you first suggested that you picked it. So, you know, I did a quick reread of the plot, and I was like, right, cool, got that. But yeah, I mean, I remember enjoying it. Like, it was, like I said, I've been watching it, like, secondhand for years anyway, whenever my dad's been watching it, so, yeah, it was nice to kind of see the context to the scenes I'd been watching for so long, you know, like, it always felt like, you know, when you're watching, like, someone's watching a film, you always kind of, it happens a few times, but it always feels like you're always walking in on the same bit, so it feels like, it was kind of like that, so it's nice to have the context to the stuff from it now. Like, it's nice to know exactly what those fucking Vogon things, whenever I see them, actually are. And I see, like, a thing of them, think they're from, like, a kid's thing, or, like, Doctor Who or something. But, no, it's nice to know what they are now. So, I would say, I was going to give this... Like, I'm kind of, like, with Amelia, in the sense that I don't know whether I'd watch it. Maybe at some point. I might watch it again at some point. But I'm not, like, desperate to watch it again. If this new series came out, if it was available, I'd watch it, I think. Let's give it a go. So I'm probably going to give this a 6 as well, because I'm interested in it, but I feel like there's other space, galaxy-related kind of similar travel stories that I'm more interested in watching, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I love this movie. I feel like I mentioned it enough. As far as like critical talking points, we mentioned how it's not as visually interesting as it maybe could have been and should have been for this idea, which is a shame. I don't know that the depressed robot stuff holds up, really. You know, I really like the line, life, don't talk to me about life. That is funny, and Alan Rickman turns in a great performance, but it's a very rudimentary version of a really serious issue. That's, I don't know, you can make fun of depression, and arguably you should, because a lot of people who go through it use comedy as a way to, like, a little bit of a lifeline and stuff. But I don't know that this was exactly the way to do it. And the majority of the cast is really good, but I mentioned it at the start. Zooey Deschanel is an actress I really like, who is good in a lot of stuff, even bad. I don't fucking like New Girl. I think it's terrible. But she's good in it. It feels like she's barely there for this film. There's something about it. Like, she's just reading the lines, doing the bits, bare minimum. She turned up. And I think that's a shame, because I know she can do better. Also, weird thing, this feels like there was like Elf and this movie, which came out really close together, and both had a scene of her showering, which felt like it came out of nowhere.
I wasn't sure whether to mention that or not, but
it's a bit weird. But yeah, I love this movie. I'm pretty sure the first year I did the fucking National Towel Day, because, you know, I'm a weirdo and you can't forget your towel. Oh, I forgot my towel. Fuck. I should have brought a towel. As if. Just hang on. I've got a blanket. Does this count? I've got. There we go. I've got a towel.
very good.
Yeah, I love it. I bias confession. Like, I love Douglas Adams' writing. It's very punny. It's very silly. I don't know if anyone's ever seen. He's got a book called The Meaning of Life, which is
I've seen the book. Yeah.
It's him inventing a bunch of fake words for things like complex situations that should just have one word where you can say, "Oh, this is what's going on." I love his style of writing. It's and that's the strength of this movie, is Douglas Adams' writing. And there is times where you find yourself rolling your eyes at the jokes, but I also feel like that's kind of the intention, you know. Yeah. It's done with a bit of a wink and a nudge. So, full of the bias, but I want to give it a 9. I do love it. Love it. So that gives us an overall score on. Ooh.
Feels familiar. Oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
So 72.5 out of 100, which we have had once before.
Ooh,
so, Amelia, do you prefer Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or do you prefer The Shining?
The Shining. I won't even... Yeah, The Shining. I'm sorry to this phone, but yeah, Shining.
Jacob?
I'm going to have to go with Hitchhiker's Guide, I think.
Joe?
I mean, let me have a think about which of these films I prefer more. I mean, yeah, The Shining, obviously.
The Shining? Fair.
Come on.
I prefer Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oof.
Sus.
Oh man, it's gonna get beaten out as well.
Audience
that just beat The Shining.
Audience bias. Hitchhiker's Guide. Not audience bias. Host bias. Hitchhiker's Guide is better than The Shining, officially taking the 22nd spot on our list of the best to worst movies.
Oh man,
Can't be bad, guys. This is objective, okay?
This is objective. It's
Come
objectively better than The Shining and objectively worse than Pan's Labyrinth. That's where it currently sits.
Okay.
great.
It's in between those two. So that brings us to the most important part of the show, and finding what we're going to be watching next time. Joe, let us know.
So I've had weeks to think of this, and I mean, it's not that I've not left it to last minute. I have a bit, but I have been thinking about it. I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I was like, right, you know what? I want to do something that I'm going to enjoy watching. So it's something I knew it was going to be something that I liked, and I imagine a lot of you guys have seen it. And if you've not, then you're going to have to watch it because it's pretty sick. And this wasn't even planned, but I'm going to use my t-shirt to reveal what it is.
Hey,
it's really dark, so I don't know. This was pure coincidence as well. I just happened to put this t-shirt on this morning, and I was like, oh shit, it's that one. So, I mean, let me see if I can brighten my screen anymore. So, for next week, we're going to be watching...
Oh, Alien.
Alien.
Nice.
First
Good
one.
choice.
Alien 1.
Very good.
I'm excited about that. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Good movie.
Nice. All right, thanks very much for joining us on this episode of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Let us know what you think of the episode and the show in the comments down below. If you've watched us on YouTube, consider giving us a like and a subscribe. If you've listened to us on your favourite podcasting apps, you can also hit that button. And if you want to find us on either or, just search for the Outtakes Movie Podcast and you'll get it all right there. Let me think. You could... Is it worth doing the email thing for finding out what people thought of Hitchhiker's Guide?
If you want to send us an email, give us suggestions.
Yeah, I guess if you want to send us an email about anything, how you doing, maybe we'll do an agony ant corner. I don't know. The Outtakes Movie Pod at gmail.com. Make sure to follow us on social media for updates about future episodes, taking part in polls and all sorts of things like that at Twitter and Instagram at The Real Outtakes. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.